Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Hello there from wherever you're joining us. Thank you very much for finding time to be with us this evening as we talk matters public speaking. And it's always a pleasure bringing this to you. Last week, we talked about, or we introduced public speaking. We talked about the importance of public speaking. We also talked about why you should enroll for a public speaking course and why you should aim at becoming a master presenter or a master public speaker. And so today I want to bring to us the second part of this masterclass. I said I'm going to run a 4 or 5 week dry run. By dry run, I mean it's free classes every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. East African time. We meet here on Zoom. I'll be sharing links on a regular basis that you can use to join in and become part of this great journey. So for the next 4 weeks, today, this is second week. Now, the next 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I shall be sharing some more insights into public speaking. And today I would like us to just share something small about the principles of public speaking. Principles of public speaking, because public speaking, again, is more of an art that is guided by principles. It's just not something that we wake up to. It's not something that has just been thought about. It's something that has evolved over time, has grown over a long period of time to become what it is today. So when you see people rise and speak, we see last week, I give an example of somebody like former President Barack Obama. I give examples of people like Martin Luther King, all these people that are recorded in history as great orators. Now, what informs their speeches? If you study their speeches, you study their oratory, what are some of the common factors that are going to find out that made them stand out, or either those ones that we know in recent history or even in ancient history? And therefore, today I want to share with us some few principles of public speaking. Generally, there are around 8 principles, but as time allows us, we shall share as much as time allows us to share, so that we see what is it that makes great speeches, or what is it that makes great speakers, great orators of all times in history. So the first principle of public speaking, principle number 1, is it is not what you say. It is not what you say, but how you say it. So that's the first principle. Anytime that we're faced with an opportunity to speak, an opportunity to deliver, an opportunity to talk before a group of people, always know it's not about what you say. Now, we don't mean that what you say is not important, but then again, I want to emphasize that how you say it is more important than what you say. How is the main focus here. So how are you going to present your thoughts? How are you going to present your ideas? How are you going to put across your ideologies, your thoughts, your speech, your talk? So it's not about what to say. Forget about it. It's very common that when you're faced with a spotlight, we have an event that is coming ahead of us. We tend to focus so much on the content. We go researching for statistics. We look for data. We look for quotes. We look for philosophers who have talked about that, authority figures that we can quote from. At the end of the day, we forgot the very important principle, which is principle number 1. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. What you say is important, but of most important in public speaking is how you put it across. And this is what makes the difference. If you take a speech that's written, give it to 2 people, one who is a master presenter is going to turn a masterpiece out of it. The same speech, same wording, but it's going to create lasting impressions. But the other one, who is a novice, is going to read word for word, become a very boring, mediocre speaker, deliver a very boring speech, and at the end of the day, despite having the same content, the same wording, the same structure, they end up delivering 2 different speeches that are worlds apart. So always remember principle number 1. When you're given an opportunity to speak, as you prepare for the speech, it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. Now, Somebody says this is a unique observation that's very true, that 65% of a message is gotten through the body language. 65% of the message is gotten through the body language. That means you're left only with 35% is what is gotten through the wordings, through the presentation, I mean, through the word to word, through the statistics, through the research, through the quotes and all that, only accounts for that 5%. So 65% of your speech is delivered through the body language. So whenever you're presented with an opportunity to talk, always remember it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And somebody called Quintilian saying that a mediocre speech supported by all the power of delivery will be more impressive and persuasive than the best speech and accompanied by such power. Get that? Quintilian says this: a mediocre speech supported by all the power of delivery will be more impressive than the best speech and accompanied by such power. So anytime that you have an opportunity to speak, put in the power. Look at how you're going to say your words. Look at the intonation. Look at your facial expressions. How are you going to present it? That's what matters. Of course, that's the first principle. Now, principle number 2, of course, people by people. Principle number 2 is people by people. Remember, number 1, you've seen that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So number 2, people by people. Now, this is a fact whether you're going for an interview, you're auditioning, you're presenting in an auditorium, you're facing a panel. At the end of the day, you are selling yourself. You're talking to a friend. I said this last time. We are all salespeople. By virtue of being human beings, we are all salespeople. At any one time, either selling your ideas, you're selling your thoughts, you're selling, it's not a must to selling a product. Even when you're talking to your spouse, you're talking to a child, you are selling to them your philosophy. So we are salespeople by virtue of being human beings. And therefore, with that in mind, it's only safe to conclude that the second principle tells us people buy people. Before they buy the product you're selling to them, before they buy the ideas you're presenting to them, before they buy the statistics and the data that you have, they will have to buy you first. They will have to buy you first. If they don't buy you, forget about your ideas, forget about your ideologies, forget about your philosophies, your statistics, your persuasion, and all those. They doesn't matter if people can't buy you. Now, how do you make people buy you? Of course, there are several ways to use. Number 1 is your appearance. How do you appear on stage? Just the way you're dressed, the way you're smiling or not smiling, the way your facial expression is, your general posture, your walking style up the podium, your level of the confidence will give people the impetus to buy you or to reject to buy you. So always, before you go to make a presentation, ensure that you are selling yourself first by the best of the appearances. That's number 1. Number 2, by having high energy, high level of energy. And then number 3, you need to have passion, because as you know, as we shall be mentioning, one of the principles later is that passion persuades. So we have seen this. Principle number 2 is that people buy people. People buy people. So before you try to sell us your philosophies, your ideas, your motivation, your thoughts, everything that you think you have, always remember to sell yourself first. Sell yourself first. If people can buy you, they won't have any problem buying anything else that you sell to them. And then principle number 3, number 1, you have said that it's not what to say, it's how you say it. Number 2, we have said people buy people. And now number 3 is a continuation of number 2. If they don't like you, they will not buy you. If they don't like you, They won't buy you, too bad for you. If they don't like you, again, they will not buy you. So you have to cultivate a sense of likability as you appear to people or you appear before people. Remember that communication is not about mere words. It's how you express the words. It's not just about the words themselves, but how you present them. And the way you present them determines whether people are going to like you and, of course, whether they are going to buy you or not. So ensure as you go or as you prepare for a speech, always you aim to make or to create an impression. You aim to create an impression because remember, we have seen that people buy people. So if they don't like you, they won't buy you. So you have to create an impression of likability right from the way you start your presentation. Actually, even before you start the presentation, right from how you walk onto that stage to how you start. We shall be talking about this as at an advanced stage. To how you start your speech, ensure that you have cultivated a high level of likability so that people are able to buy you. Now, likability, of course, comes in many ways. You could use your symbol or signature symbol. If you're a public figure, there are those things that people identify you with. Come back here in Kenya, we used to have our second president, President Daniel Arap Moi. People used to identify him with that club. It was a signature symbol. Our founding president used to be identified with his fly whisk. Of course, when you talk about people like Barack Obama, his left wave wherever he appeared as he was alighting his Air Force One, he could wave the left-hand wave, and people identified him with this. So you can develop, if you're a public figure, you can develop signature symbols. Of course, the other way to cultivate likability is your dressing style. How do you dress? Look at your hair. How is your hair? Is it well kept? Is it shaved if you're men? Look at your beards. Look at your overall grooming, your clothing, your dressing. Does it make an image or does it cut an image of impression that is likely to impress people so that they can buy you? Now, the next principle or the fourth principle for that case is that people act on emotion and then they justify with the reason. People act on emotion and then they justify with the reason. Once you realize this as a speaker, your life becomes very easy because you see selling logic. You see showing people the figures, you see selling to them, the statistics, the hard facts, and you seek to arouse their emotions. So never ever sell logic. When you go to stand before people, never ever sell logic. Arouse the emotion. And there's a difference during the election, the 2016 campaigns in the United States. Of course, you had the liberty to see President Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton came with hard facts, figures about employment, about homelessness in America, about the economy, about manufacturing, about jobs, about everything. But what Donald Trump did simply was to evoke an aura of emotion. He never showed logic anywhere in his speeches. He convinced people that he was among them. He was like them. He was there to make America great again. And people bought into him because he was appealing to their emotions, not their logic. So anytime when given an opportunity to make a presentation, don't aim for the logic. Don't sell logic. Arouse emotions, because people connect or cherish or value emotions more than anything else. They don't use logic when making their decisions. They use their emotions, and then they are left justifying using logic. So always ensure as you prepare for a talk, as you prepare for a speech, you aim at arousing the emotion, arouse the crowds, change them, their emotions. And once they make the decisions, if you are able to change the emotions properly, They will make favorable decisions that are favoring your presentation, your products, your ideologies, and then they will justify it using reason. Never sell reason. Never try to be logical. Never try to be logical. Sell to people or arouse people's emotions. Act, switch the emotions on, and the rest will be history. Of course, the fifth principle again, the fifth principle is passion persuades. I said this at a certain point that passion makes the difference. Passion makes the difference. It is the passion with which you make the presentation that makes it lively or makes it dull. Nobody wants a presentation that is without energy, without power, without charisma. We need to see it. We need to see you oozing passion. You know, the energy that you present with the presentation determines your level of energy. So before you step onto that podium, before you walk into that meeting room, before you make your presentation or present yourself before people, ensure that you are passionate about what you're going to present. Be passionate about your area of expertise. Be passionate about your speech. Be passionate about the information you're about to deliver, because people can always see passion. You know, you don't have to tell us that we're passionate about whatever you're doing. We are going to see it by how you spring around, by how you put your thoughts across, by how you bring your ideas. So always remember that passion persuades. And then principle number 6, the sixth principle is that hunger is the best source. Hunger, Hunger. Hunger, always be hungry. You know, in one of his most famous speeches, commencement speech at Stanford University, the former genius founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, said this. One of the quotes after giving his long speech, he said, "Stay foolish, stay hungry." Hungry people can transcend any limits. They can go beyond any barriers. They can go beyond any fences to achieve, just to feed their anger. So anger is the best source. As a speaker, draw your energy from hunger. Find something that hungers you and go for it. That hunger could be inspiring a crowd. That hunger could be moving people to take action. People like Martin Luther King was hungry of seeing Americans stop alienating the blacks, of course. You're seeing equal rights for the blacks and the whites. People like Barack Obama, they end passion for leadership to transform the American economy, and their hunger could be seen in their passion on how they presented themselves. Then principle number 7 is make the audience your friend. Make the audience your friend. Always, when going to present, remember that the audience are not there under sufferance. They're not being forced to be there. They came there voluntarily. So make them your friend. Don't make them your enemies. They're not there to see you flop and fail. You know, most speakers, and particularly the beginners, they walk in front of a podium or in front of a room that is full of crowds, and they look at the people. Of course, they feel nervous and they think these people are here to witness my downfall. No, they're not there for that. They came there by their own volition, at least. So they are not there to correct you. They're not there to find faults. They're not there to find mistakes. They are there because they want to listen to you. So always make the audience your friends and engage them, ask them questions, give them facts, try to find their responses, engage them along your speech. You're not there to give a monologue. You're not there to talk to people who have no emotions, people who have no feelings. They are there as your friends. So throughout your speech, engage them. And then the last principle of public speaking is create an emotional connection. Create an emotional connection. Always create an emotional connection. This is what makes the difference between great speakers and mediocre speakers. This is what determines whether you shall be remembered after you've delivered your speech or you will be forgotten. Whether your speech will be remembered or it will be forgotten depends on whether you created an emotional connection. If you watch speeches by people like Martin Luther King, I have a dream, I've been to the mountaintop, all these speeches, he could present the ones and the vigor of his body in a way that he could connect with people at an emotional level, such that by the time these guys are done speaking, people like Barack Obama, by the time he was done with this "Yes, we can" speech, some people even crying because he was able to connect with them, touch base with their feelings, touch base with their thoughts, touch base with the problems that are bedeviling them, and they are able to feel that, yes, this person connects with us. So your speech could be exceptional. Your presentation could be stellar, your CV, your papers could be exceptional. But if you don't make an emotional connection, forget about it. If you can't make an emotional connection, your greatness as a speaker is limited. So always remember, it all boils down to emotional connection. So a summary of the 8 principles of public speaking: number 1, it is not what you say, but how you say it. Number 2, people buy people. Number 3, if they don't like you, they will not buy you. Number 4, people act on emotion, then justify the reason. Number 5, passion persuades. Number 6, hunger is the best source. Principle number 7, make the audience your friend. And principle number 8, it all boils down to emotional connection. So always endeavor to create an emotional connection. Thank you very much for being part of this class this evening. It's always a pleasure bringing to you these classes, trying to teach you, talk to you about public speaking, and enlighten us about becoming better speakers by day. I look forward to seeing you to our next class. That's next week on Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. East African time. I look forward to seeing you there. Again, if you have come in late or you have missed it, you can check out on my YouTube channel. That is Samson Mung'athia. You go there. Kindly remember to like and subscribe, and of course share with your friends and your teams, because you're going to find a recording of this presentation plus the previous one, the first one, the introduction part of it. You're going to find it there. It has been a pleasure. I wish you the best. Bye-bye. See you next week.